Hello, it's time for ukulele, sort of. I'm in a little bit early today, and so I'm going to just go ahead and open the room up and get everything going, let everybody have a chance to get in and settled in. If you're watching the recording, you can fast forward 5 minutes easy before we get started. And of course, you're probably not watching the recording, you're probably here live. Let me post this over on. I have too many pieces of technology in front of me, none of which are serving any reason whatsoever. So let me post this over on our website. The website's jollyrogerukulele.com. Don't trust your phone's auto corrections. Mine always says Jolly space RODGER, which is not true. Space ukulele .cam. You know, you'd think, how in the world can it not know what a .com is at this point in our world? But it doesn't. So don't trust your phones. Don't trust Apple Corporation to run your life. All right, let me go grab, put this here, paste, shift, highlight, link, enter, edit, settings, open a new window, update, and where's my update button? There it is. Update. All right. So today we're going to be doing several what I think are pretty darn important pieces, putting several of the pieces of the puzzle together. So today we're going to be talking out of book one. We'll be talking about My Spaghetti Monster and Three Blind Mice. Those are both the first two songs in chord melody playing, and once you master those two, and you don't even need to master them, once you understand what's on there, you will play the rest of your life quite happily as a fingerstyle or classical ukulele player. And so those are I think, super important. Today we're also going to take a look at Clementine and Colorado Trail, mostly Colorado Trail because Clementine's a tiny bit annoying. And then we'll wrap up on the classical program with Beethoven Sonatina. I think this is the third time we've been through it, and I just think it's such a good arrangement and so much fun to play, and everything in there is so valuable that I want to play it on a regular basis because, I don't have it memorized. I have it pretty well in hand, and it's delightful to have that level of music playable on a ukulele. So that's that. I have 4 notifications on Twitter. Twitter was broken yesterday, so let's see what my notices are. Okay, Fran is busy liking some of my stuff. Thank you, Fran, for doing that. And then other than that, actually, Twitter was working. Facebook was broken yesterday. There are so many people who've built their life around Facebook, and so, all right, let's see. Close that out. Blanket on the ground, Bobby. I don't know what that means. I can't tell. Sometimes we get spam bots in here, and so never exactly positive when I see stuff like that. Bobby, Billy, let's make this person go away. All right, let's see. All right, make them go away. All right, so that's down there off and running. Let's see. Vic made it in. Sound is good. Cloudy up in Eugene, and good to have you in, Vic. We're going to take. Let's get started. What do you think? Let's get started on My Spaghetti Monster and Three Blind Mice. Now, guys, those of you who are logging in, just a reminder: I'm only here today, this week. Things are as we knew would happen. We knew this would happen. Things are getting a little bit intense in my life, and we've had some stuff planned for a while, and I just got to get this taken care of. So today I want to give you a week's worth of information, a week's worth of ukulele playing in 30 minutes or an hour and a half, depending on how long you can stand me. And let's focus in on what's really important in music, which is getting the tool set in and then practicing, right? And so let's do this both on ukulele and on baritone, and then you'll have plenty of time this week to work on it. So We tune the ukulele, George Clooney eats apples. Okay. GCEA. And let's go ahead and let's start with My Spaghetti Monster. Unless you've been around a while, Vic and Linda know this song by heart at this point. But some of you, if you're watching the recording, certainly may be coming at this as a new player. And you're like, I've never heard of that song. And nobody's ever heard of that song because I wrote it years ago accidentally for a completely different reason. And now it turns out it's perfect for teaching you how to play chord melody. It's perfect. And so the first thing you want to do with My Spaghetti Monster is realize it starts with M, not S. And a lot of times people misfile it in their books under S for Spaghetti Monster. It's My Spaghetti Monster. File it under M. Next thing is there's chords on here. We're going to talk about the chords, but we're not really going to play them. And as ukulele players, we're like, what? We like playing chords. First chord is a C chord. Okay, so use your ring finger, third fret of the first string. My spaghetti monster. That's what you're going to do. And then to change from that chord to a C major 7, this is a jazz chord. So this first chord feels like a regular major, all-American, all-world kind of chord. You know, everybody loves a major chord. Then you got the C major 7, which is a jazz chord, and everybody hates jazz. But just by moving that one finger and one fret, you get this. Right? Isn't that beautiful? Okay, and for this song, probably just run your thumb down. A big difference between this sound, C major, and C major 7. Okay, quite different sounding, though. Both of them quite beautiful. Hey, Sandy, welcome in. She's in from Michigan, you guys. And then the next chord on here at measure 6 is a C6, and sometimes you'll see it listed as A minor 7th, depending on what the chord is doing in the song. But yours is a C6 in this case, and you're at measure 6. Flying through the rainbow. Now we're going to go back to C major 7 with, and then back to the C, and then this G/C. What this is it's a G chord, but the lowest note, instead of being the usual D note in here on ukulele, this is going to be a C note on here. Okay, and what's fascinating about it is now the notes you're actually playing are a G note, a C note, and another G note, which makes it a rock power chord. So already we've done a major chord, a major 7th chord, which is a jazz chord. C6 is really kind of a Hawaiian chord. You don't see a lot of 6th chords in the world. And then, of course, the G/C, which is a rock power chord. So with just barely moving your finger, you move it here to here, and then you take it off, then you come back up, and then you move it right there. Just those little bit of motions in there, and all of a sudden you have some pretty distinct chord shapes and distinct chord sounds. Once you have those chords in place, everything else is the same. And so the key with this tune is you could play it with chords. My spaghetti monster, playing ukulele, flying through the rainbows with my heart. But yeah, it's nothing is going to inspire you less than singing that. What will inspire you is playing the melody and then combining it with those chords. So let's go study the melody real quick. Measure 1 under the ukulele melody line. This is how all of your sheet music will be set up. You'll have the standard notation, chords and lyrics in this case, and then you'll have ukulele melody, and that's the part you sing in the shower. So let's get this done. Hey, Michelle, in from Rockaway Beach today. Oh, it's raining up there. Rats. All right. Well, that's okay some days. It's okay this time of year, right? So let's play the melody. 0, 0, 0, 0. And then grab your 3. And you can play it with your thumb. And then 0, 0, 0, 0, 2, 2. And then look what happens next at measure 5. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. So that's pretty nice. Play. Then 2, 3, and then the 3 on the second string. So play the 2, and the 3. Then just bunny hop up to the second string and play the 3 there. Okay. Now you're going to do a 1 on the same string you're already holding down. So just trade your ring finger out for your index finger, and then open. 2 on the third string. Remember the tablature is upside down compared to what your ukulele is. And then the 0 on that same string. 2 3s on the second string. In measure 11, we're going to repeat the same exact thing from measures 9 and 10. Measure 13 is similar to measure 11, but a little bit of a different. Hit the 1, hit the 0, hit the 2. Now instead of going to 0, go to back to the 3 on the second string, and then a 3 on the first string. Okay, so let's play just the melody together, and I'll play it kind of slow, but probably faster than you might want me to. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey, Nancy. Four. And so we are working on just a very simple melody, nothing real fancy, and something that you're going to be playing a lot of melody going forward, and so it should feel pretty comfortable coming in there after this study you've done up to this point. Now here's where things change, though. When you look at Tough Uke, here's when we begin this, and if you're in my class, I usually start this on day 1, if I can see you face to face and I make sure everybody, but in online, we tend to postpone this just a little bit to give you a little bit more experience prior to tackling this. The big thing here is whenever you see these little wiggles, those are called glissandos, and we're going to take our thumb and just drag it down over all of the strings when we get there. Not fast, but just slow so we can hear every single string. So look at the Tough Uke line. First measure is the same as we did before, 0, 0, 0, 0. Let's play that. Ready? Play. Now 0, 0, 0, 3, and the thumb down. And again. Now some more zeros. Grab the 2, strum down. Okay, some more zeros. All zeros. Then a 2. Then a 3. And then bunny hop over to the 3 like we did before. Here's the most important concept you have to learn today is rest stroke. So we're going to take 0, 0, 3. Our thumb is going to rest on the string you're not going to play. That's called rest stroke. Okay, so my thumb is actually hanging out on string number 1. I don't want it to go off. You notice on the sheet music, it says 0, 0, 3, and there's nothing else in that whole measure. Okay, so the idea is you're going to play 0, 0, 3 is a nice strum down, and then your thumb's going to just hang out on the first string because you don't want it to accidentally go off. And the other nice part about rest stroke is that you have a tendency to hit the string right above it a little bit harder as you're diving into rest. Okay? And that's where the melody is, of course, and that helps bring it out. So rest stroke. Okay, now let's do for measure 9. Let's play the 1 and the 0, 2, 0, and then 0, 0, 3, 2 rest strokes in a row. 1, 0, 2, 0, 0, 3 rest strokes. And then 1, 0, 2, 3. And full C chord. And of course, we don't talk about rest stroke. There's nothing to rest on after that. So you just want to make sure to hit that string number 1 nice and clean. All right, we're going to play the whole song now. And usually if I'm in class, we'll break it down and we will make sure everybody's doing fine on measures 1 and 2, and then 3 and 4, and then 5 and 6. Well, usually by the time we get to 5, you're fine, right? 5, 6, 7, and 8, we usually take that as a group. And then 9 and 10 usually require separate study because it's a little bit different, a little bit more challenging melodically through that section. I remind everybody 11 and 12 is identical. And then 13, all you're really looking for is that one modification at the very end where the 3 is on the second string, and then a nice C chord to wrap it up. So let's play through it one time. 1, 2, ready, play. Oh, 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 strum. strum, strum, add the 2, strum, add the 3, bunny hop to the other 3, 2, 3, 4, go. 1, 0, 2, 0, 0, 0, 3, strum, strum, 1, 0, 2, 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 0, 0, 3, strum, strum, 1, 0, 2, 3. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so the song works with not a ton of brain damage. You get this really pretty little song out, and I tell everybody you ought to memorize this one. This should be your first song that you memorize, because at some point somebody's going to say, hey, I hear you're taking ukulele lessons, why don't you play me something? And you want to play a song that they can't sing along to, so you want it to be a song they don't know, and you want to have it where it demonstrates your skills as a ukulele player and not necessarily your skills as a singer. Anybody can knock out their version of Happy Birthday, right? And that's really about how your singing is going. But if you knock out My Spaghetti Monster, they're going to think you're playing classical music. Okay? Let's do it one more time. I'm going to sing. 1, 2, 3, 4. My spaghetti monster playing ukulele, flying through the rainbows with my heart. 2, 3, 4. Tasty marinara, yummy parmesan, we're Pastafarians. Okay, so the idea there is a goofy song, but the real takeaway is, hey, if you memorize that, I'm going to show you what you just played. Look up, make sure they're paying no attention. Now you have changed their mindset, your audiences, whether it's your husband or your wife or your children or whatever. You've changed their mindset because now they are able to understand, hey, ukulele is a real instrument. It's really beautiful, really soft and pretty and nice, and you're not trying to sing over the top of it, right? Which is I mean, if you have a beautiful voice, it's probably fine. Otherwise, right? And so so that's what's going on there. Now, normally I send you off for a few days to work on this, and then I really push you to try to memorize it. And nobody ever does, but somebody should, and not nobody, but very few people ever do. But this is a song, if you go out to test a ukulele at the local music shop, you want to not have to take your sheet music in. So having a piece of music where you know how it goes and sounds nice, and then the kid that's sitting there running the counter at the music shop, he's never heard the song, and be like, oh boy, you're a really good player. How'd you learn to play ukulele? Or that's a fascinating way you play, because the kid at the music store is one of two people. Either he's a kid who likes guitar and he likes electric guitar and he's never played in that style, or he's a music student who has never considered this a real instrument, and all of a sudden you're teaching them, no, it is a real instrument. Hey, Nancy says 87 and sunny down in Florida. We should all be in Florida right now. The party at Nancy's house. All right, so there's My Spaghetti Monster. Now, I'm not going to switch to baritone quite yet. I will play through the baritone version of it here in just a second. Because we're crunched for time and the week is weird, I want to go over and grab Three Blind Mice next, because we'll grab it on ukulele, of course. Where is it in my thing? The reason I am grabbing this now, where we would normally just send you off, is that I'm not going to be here later this week, and I don't want you to just be stuck with one song. I want you to have two songs that are working on the same skill set. And for some reason, I don't have Three Blind Mice in my gadget, which doesn't seem possible, but there we are. Three Blind Mice. Oh, I've never put it in here. That's why. All right, Three Blind Mice. Three Blind mice. Share with fourth chord. And here, here, here. Share with fourth chord. Chink. Okay. And then here. Set list. Add. LMNOPQRST. One of these days I'm going to learn to know the alphabet. 3 blind mice. Baritone, 3 blind mice. Ukulele. All right. Here. Oh, done. And then here. Okay. So the other song in your book is also... or for the week, I should say, the other song, every song in your book pretty much is going to be chord melody. But for this week, you're going to work on My Spaghetti Monster on your own. Remember, on the website, there's MP3s. You can go listen to the song while you're reading the sheet music, and then go try to play it yourself. Don't try, just do. And then 3 Blind Mice is also up there. And so most everybody knows how 3 Blind Mice goes. The key with this one is the entire chord structure is C. And so the good news is every single chord is going to be filled up with a whole bunch of zeros. Because when you hold a C chord, this is a 0, this is a 0, that's a 0. Right? And this is a 3 at the moment, but it's going to be doing other things to match the melody. Okay, so let's go grab 3 Blind Mice. This song has the same exact, not exactly, but pretty much the same thought process behind it. You're going to take your thumb and drag it down until you hit the melody note. Okay, and the only difference between this song and Spaghetti Monster has a fairly complex and interesting chord structure. 3 Blind Mice has C chord and then another C chord and then another C chord all the way to the end. So the less interesting chord structure, but similar approach to playing it. Okay, so we're going to go right down to the Tough Uke. Okay, and Tough Uke is my goofy name for chord melody. Okay, it's going to be 0, 0, 0, so strum that. And then hold down the 2 on the 3rd string, 0, 2, and then 0, 0. And we're going to repeat that. Okay, measure 3, we're going to go 3, 1, 1, 0, while strumming otherwise. And again. But we add a little 0, 0, 3 at the end here. Now make sure when you're coming down, your thumb is resting on that first string. A really, really important concept, because we've got to know the difference between a rest stroke and a free stroke. And right now we're working on rest stroke. Measure 5, bunny hop up to the 3 on the 1st string. Everything in this measure is played with all 4 strings, so let's do that. Go. Okay, 3 on the 1st string, and then bunny hop it over to the 2nd string. And rest stroke, rest stroke, rest stroke. Now bunny hop it back to the 1st string. Change it out for a 2. Then 0, 2. And then bunny hop it back to the 2nd string. 4 rest strokes in a row here. Bunny hop to the 1st string. 0, 0, 0, 2. 0, 0, 1. 0, 0, 0. 0, 2. 0, 0. Okay, so that's what your plan is for the week. Get both of those songs where they sound pretty smooth. Go listen to the MP3 a few times. And then I tell you, no matter what I do, the important calls always happen when I can't answer the phone. And the dumb phone, the unnecessary calls happen when I am available. The other thing I want you to work on, in addition to playing these with your thumb down exclusively, and I'm going to do it on baritone for both of them, is I want you to play with your claw. So in other words, measure 1 and 0, 0, 0, and then 0, 2, and then 0, 0. Do it again. 0, 2, 0, 0. Okay, 0, 0, 3, 1, 1. 3, 1, 1, 0. 3, 3 on the other string. Okay, 0, 0, 1. 0, 0, 0, 0. 0, 0, 0, 0. 0, 0, 0, 0. 0, 0, 0, 0. 0, 0, 0, 0. 0, 0, 0, 0. 0, 0, 0, 0. 0, 0, 0, 0. 0, 0, 0, 0. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, Okay, so this week, master those two pieces of music. You don't have to. I would go ahead and memorize Spaghetti Monster, because then you've got something in your quiver that you don't have to go look up sheet music on it, and it makes you sound great. Three Blind Mice. Once we're done playing this Three Blind Mice, and you understand what's going on there, you'll never play it again until you teach somebody else how to play ukulele. But it's just sort of reinforcing the same message from Spaghetti Monster. That's why I always teach these in tandem: Spaghetti Monster and Three Blind Mice. That's your intro to chord melody week. And what you're playing is technically, on some level, it's considered chord melody. You're playing chords and melody at the same time. But it's more sophisticated than just that, because when we're talking about chord melody on piano, this hand's hitting the chord and this hand's playing the melody. And that's not really what you're doing. What you're doing is a little bit more complex than that. So that's why I've never called this chord melody, really. The other phrase you'll see attached to this, if you want to go see better ukulele playing than you usually see on YouTube, just add the word finger style onto it, and then that will mean somebody's picking out, usually it means somebody's picking out the melody along with some chords on there. It should sound pretty nice. All right, now let's go grab the baritone version of Three Blind Mice, and in this, ukulele players, you're going to use a G chord. Okay, so we're on Three Blind Mice, but you're just using the G chord. You're going to back me up and make me sound nice. Baritone players, I want you to, rather than using your thumb down, which is something you'll work on this week, I want you to use your claw, and let's play it that way. Okay, and so because I know I'm going to use all four strings, I'm going to go ahead and attach all four fingers to all four strings. So thumb, index, middle, ring, and then I'm just going to be collapsing them as we go along. Okay, so let's give it a try, see what happens. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. 4. 4. Messed up the last note. Okay, so that's claw picking that, and you'll see sometimes people will refer to finger style as when they're claw picking. They are separate groups of ways of playing. Claw picking or that type of stuff usually doesn't include the melody. Chord melody playing has to include it in order for it to fall into that category. Okay, let's go through Spaghetti Monster now, my Spaghetti Monster, and let's get this one knocked out on baritone. Instead of claw picking this time, let's go ahead and do thumb down the first time and then claw pick it the second time, or claw pick it. All right, so thumb first and then claw. Ukulele players, you can play a G chord the entire time and no one will know the difference. 1, 2, ready, play. Claw pick it and go. Two, three, four, go. Pretty? Okay. So this week, guys, I'll be gone until on next Tuesday. Your final exam for the intro to chord melody. We will be playing My Spaghetti Monster, and we will be playing Three Blind Mice. Your goal is to have My Spaghetti Monster so well in hand you don't even need the sheet music, and you will know full well by the time you get there that Three Blind Mice is the second greatest song ever, right? So you'll be able to play both of those by next Tuesday. That's your homework for the week if you're in book 1. And I think that's it. I think that's all I know about that. Good news about entering into chord melody. Once you are out reading the tough ukulele line effectively, and usually takes 2-3 weeks before your eyeballs have it switched upside down and you know how that goes. You're going to play every single thing else on this website, all 400 and whatever number of songs that are on there, all of them exactly the same way. So you're going to go through and thumb them, and then you can go through and claw pick them, and it's just a matter of pretty soon the repeat stuff will start recurring. You'll see 0003, and you won't think about it. You'll be looking into the next measure to figure out what the heck's going on there. Couple of suggestions for practice at home. Okay, one of the things that I wasted many years on piano was I would start a song, I would play the song from top to bottom, and I'd make all these mistakes, and then I would get to the bottom and be like, okay, I'm going to play a second time. And I would go back to the top, and I would play down to the bottom. I'd usually make most of the same mistakes, and then I'd make a few new mistakes, and then I had played the song twice. I figured that was my dues, and I'd turn the page and go on to the next song. Or I'd go get a glass of wine and pick a fight with the neighbor. That's a very inefficient way to practice. If you look at My Spaghetti Monster, you don't need to practice measures 1, 3, or 5, right? You don't need to practice those. You know how to play those. They'll never end 0, 0, 0, 0. So you don't need to spend any time on those. Measure 2, you probably don't really need to practice that. You've done a C chord before. Okay, so now you don't need to practice measures 1 through 3. Measure 4, you might need to. You don't see a ton of G major 7s or C major 7s, so you spend a little time getting that in your head. All right, when I see 0002, it's that cool jazz sound, right? G6, you don't got to practice that. So really, in measures 1 through 6, the only measure you may have to spend a little bit of time on is measure 4. Make sure you know where to put your fingers. Then measure 7 is a repeat of some of the stuff you've already worked on. So measure 8 is pretty important. Okay, 003. And then making sure you don't come in early. Make sure you're counting. And I count aloud physically for you guys in class, but when I'm really practicing, I actually count. In fact, I had to take a piano quiz today for at school, and there was a measure where I had 3 beat rests that followed a note, a big old fat whole note on there. And I heard myself in front of my teacher go 2, 3, 4, right? Because that's just such an ingrained habit. Obviously, when I get to concert, I hope I don't do that. But in real life, when I'm practicing, I count out my long notes because otherwise you're going to come in early. So you probably would need to practice that a little bit. For sure, going to need to practice measure 9, 1, 0, 2, 0. But once you've got that in hand, measure 11 is the same. So you really need to practice just. So far, might need to practice measure 4. For sure need to practice measure 8. Definitely measure 9. Okay? Measures 10 and 11 and 12 are repeats. And then I would work on measure 13. 1, 0, 2, 3. And then a nice strum at the end, which you don't need to practice. So if you master measure 4, measure 8, measure 9, and measure 13, that's how much time you spend practicing. Just those 4 measures. Really nail those in. Get them good and solid and tight. Then you have the song, right? Then you have the song. Then it's just a matter of getting smooth and musical and all that stuff. But don't waste your time playing a song top to bottom and then play it top to bottom again and think you've done any work. Go through, find those places that are going to be a mess for you, fix those places, and then the rest of the song will be there when you're ready to go. So there we go. That's my thoughts on practice, and especially when you're a newer musician and an unsupervised one. Most of you guys don't have a regular music teacher to yell at you. I have one. It's less fun than you'd think. You need to be very smart about focusing your practice in on those things you can't do rather than trying to create a song. When we get together in group here, that's when we try to create the song. But when you're on your own, work on problem areas, because practice is really generally not, it's not designed for you to play beautiful music. It's designed for you to teach yourself these complicated areas. And then, go grab your cat and come in. Hey, come here, Frisky, or whatever his name is. Henry, come here, Henry. I'll play you through My Spaghetti Monster. And Henry will be like, you goofed up measure 8, dude. You got to let it be 4 beats. That's how cats are. They're very negative. All right, My Spaghetti Monster, 3 by Mice. You guys are set for a week. On next Tuesday is your quiz on that. Let's move on to the cowboy tunes today. So you guys who are in book 2, you've been around a while. You probably played these before. We're playing them again. We will play them again and again and again because they are awesome. And so I'm pretty sure I haven't loaded these into the gadget here. So let's go talk about them. First off, on Monday you had Clementine. Clementine is one of the great deluded narrators in all of song. Okay? There's several deluded narrator type songs out there. One of my favorites is Plain White T's has one called Delilah, and he's busy. She's gone off to college in New York City, and he's still hanging around the house playing guitar, and he's like, I'm going to get famous and we're going to take care of you. And the whole time you're like, dude, I hate to let you in on this, but she's gone. She ain't coming back. So he's busy telling her what a great life they're going to have. And you're like, I don't think that's going to go the way you think it's going to go, dude. So this is another one. Clementine, as your deluded narrator, he thinks that the reason, he knows she's poor and she has boxes on her feet that serve as shoes, and she falls in the river and drowns, and he doesn't try to save her, doesn't even pretend to try to save her. And so, and then of course she comes rising back up out of the water covered in brine. They get this very dark, scary picture of her. And then all these are apparently already in my book. Well, there we go. That solves the whole problem. So let's book 2, add. Every one of them was already in the book. How come I didn't see them? Clementine Baritone, Clementine Ukulele. And we'll start with Clementine Ukulele. Let's start with that one. And then we'll do Colorado Trail second. Baritone, Colorado Ukulele. Okay, so now I'm set. So grab Clementine Ukulele. Notice you got 800 verses, right? The verse that's important, well, I'll tell you, I've told this story before because I think it's telling. I teach every year at a violin institute. I am in Richmond at the Violin Institute. And what happens is I get all the little kids and then a few of the middle kids and then none of the high school kids, right? Because they're like, I don't need enrichment. I am making a life in violin. And you're like, no, you're not. No, you're not. Probably not. You should really learn to play ukulele because that's the thing that's going to be meaningful and fun for you as you become an adult. And violin, you're going to end up selling insurance. So there's, probably ought to dial it back a little bit on your level of commitment. I don't say that. I say, well, okay, have a good lunch. I was at that seminar. What is it? They don't call it a seminar. Institute. And I used to only have 4 verses on here because the bottom 4 are kind of dark. In the churchyard where the Byzantine Clementine is fertilizing the dead flowers, or the flowers, and then her father ends up killing himself. And then in verse 7, she rises up out of the water covered in brine. And then in the last verse, he ends up kissing her sister and forgetting about Clementine. And so our deluded narrator is sort of a creep in the first place. But so I didn't have those on there, and I had this little girl come up just devastated. She says, that's not how that song ends. There's more verses. So you guys have all of these verses now because of her. All right, now let's talk pickup notes. Rest in a cavern beat 1. That's where the chord comes in, not before. So I always spell it out for you. Right, but you've got to know, in pickup notes, we almost never have the chord on top of a pickup note. In a cavern, and so just know what a pickup note is. In this case, we have 2 pickup notes. The other thing to pay attention to, you see a dotted 8th note followed by a 16th note. That's what we call swing time. So the first note's a little longer than the second time, and you want to pay attention to that when somebody puts those in. Sometimes they'll just put in regular 8th notes, but in this case, I actually gave you the full written out version. In a cavern, in a canyon. You make that first, the dotted note, a little bit longer, and then the 16th note much shorter. And then you see a measure 2, canyon excavating for a. Okay, so this, in that case, at measure 2, they're regular 8th notes, so you don't swing them. Measure 3, that's a dotted quarter note, so it's longer than usually you have a quarter note. And of course, it's usually then, not always, but a lot of times you'll see it followed up by a shorter note. Okay, so there's that. Let's see, you have some other people who wandered in today. Andre is in from Hamburg, 9 p.m., 14 degrees, and 2 ukes in 2 ukes in the work. Lovely. Good to have you, Andre. Glad you're here. I know that you end up having to stay up late. Diane is in, ready for book 2. Beautiful day in Colorado. It's a perfect day in Colorado, by the way. And Carol's in from the mountains of Colorado. All right, let's make this happen. Drama, silliness, depth of passion over poor Clementine. And if you are not from probably the western United States, you may never have heard this song before. So just know it's a pretty traditional, old-fashioned kind of cowboyish tune about mining, right? And the gold rush of 49 or 59. I think it was 49 in California and 59 in Colorado. From the top, I'm going to play the tough uke. You play whatever parts make you happy. If you're on baritone, you probably want to play the chords. 1, 2. Then you go repeat it 7 times. Okay, the last time you come through, however many times you want to do it, at measure 15, you skip 16. Notice on 16, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's the first 7 repeats are in the first repeat, right? And then your second repeat, which is actually the 8th time through, you finished it up sort of the same, except you got your high G chord, and this is one worth memorizing. 7, 7, 7, 10. That's a high G. Okay, it's a lovely chord to finish up with, but you can also use a regular G chord. Okay. The nice part about 7, 7, 7, 10 is your very high note here is a G note, and you're in the key of G, so it has a very complete and pretty tone to it. Hey Jan, welcome in. Say hi to Charlie for me. Sunny, summery, beautiful up there. All right, so I played it thumb down. Now we're going to play a duet. Okay, we're going to play a duet. I'm going to play the chords, and you're going to play the melody. Okay, I'm going to sing. I'll sing the last verse. How about that? We'll sing the last verse, which is when the narrator proves that not the greatest person in the world. Okay, all right. I will sing. Sorry about that. Right, that's the note I'm going to try to get to. I'm going to try to be an octave below that. I don't know. We'll figure it out. And then you're going to play the melody to cover up my singing. Okay? So you play 3, 3, 3, 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 5, and so on. 1, 2. How? Oops, I messed it up. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 3. Miss her. How I miss her. How I missed my Clementine. Till I kissed her little sister and forgot my Clementine. Oh, my darling, oh, my darling, oh, my darling Clementine, you are lost and gone forever. Dreadful sorry Clementine. Isn't that fun? All right, so that's the last verse. But that's oh my darling, that's the fun part. And there's of course tons of parodies out there. Some of you guys know the other versions of this song out there. But remember, when you are doing a duet, sometimes people sing, right, which I did like that time. But sometimes one of you takes the chord, one of you takes the melody, and it's fine. Let's all play the melody together, because you might have made a mistake. And let's find out. 1, 2. And then finish up in any way that's meaningful to you. But again, 7, 8 verses of this. Probably never going to play all 8 verses, but play it until you've really got the smooth and the sort of the musicalness coming out of it, and then you'll have really gained something. Also, I think it's not uninteresting that as I'm busy playing the melody, all of a sudden I look down, my chord has magically formed itself by accident, and so you know, oh gosh, I'm in the G chord just by the way the melody is flowing around. So it's really set up to be a perfect chord melody arrangement. And even if you're just trying to play melody, all of a sudden your fingers are in that G shape and you're like, oh, now I understand why chord melody works so well. That's enough of that. Let's do the baritone version of it. Let's see if those of you on ukulele, how your accompaniment skills are coming along. What I would do, anytime I see something's in 3, I try to play it in 6 at double speed. Okay. So this would be a great chance to do in a cavern, in a canyon. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2. In a cavern, in a cavern, in a canyon, excavating for a mine, dwelt a miner 49er and his daughter Clementine. Okay, got the rhythm all wrong. Let's do just 3. In a cavern, in a canyon, excavating for a mine. There's 3. That probably sounds the best, right? Maybe the 3 backwards. 1, 2, 3. In a cavern, in a canyon, excavating for a mine. So there we go. Probably the way this is written probably lends itself to playing in 3/4 rather than 6. Playing in 3 rather than 6, but try different things. Find out what makes it sound pretty. If you're on ukulele, your D chord is right there, 2, 2, 2, and your A7 chord is right there. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, back me up. Baritone players, let's make this happen. 1, 2. again, I think the song itself is not, we don't run around thinking, oh, thank God I get to play Clementine. But you can have a lot of fun with it and really bring your full toolbox to making it sound as pretty as you can. Couple of thoughts at measure 5, 2, 0, 2, 3. Both the versions have this as your D7. And I did that because I wanted this nice low third string. But you can do your regular, your bar form of your A7 or D7 for ukulele. Okay. And then when you get to the 2022, just strum a full bar. You can do that. You'll sound fine. And maybe not quite the same depth, but a little easier to play. And the other place I noticed that I might be able to simplify it, measure 10, you're coming in with a D7 or A7 on mute baritone. And then you've got this 2 sort of out in the middle and you're not holding it down. So you could realistically just play a regular A chord or D on ukulele. And then you've got that 2 held down, the second 2 in the measure 15, and then lift up that finger. And that's where the real A7 shows up. So either lots of those, be experimental. If you find something challenging to play, look around and see, has Gary just made this harder on us than he needs to? Which is often the answer is yeah. All right, let's go grab Colorado Trail. I will tell you what I know about Colorado Trail. And grab the baritone version first. First of all, this is why you want to own a baritone, because Colorado Trail is awesome on baritone. Colorado Trail, I grew up in Colorado. I'm super old now, and I have spent almost my entire life here, and I had never ever heard of this song, ever, never once crossed my path. But when I started doing some old-fashioned cowboy stuff, it's in all of the old cowboy books, all of them. Every one of them, there's Colorado Trail again. So it's pretty famous among cowboy people, apparently, back in the day, but not so much Colorado people, and certainly not anymore. People from Colorado, nobody's from Colorado. There is getting to be like California, everybody's from somewhere else, which is fine. I mean, it's lovely, nice melting pot of people. So Colorado Trail is really, the reason we study it is poor Laura. Laura is dead, and Laura was only 16 years old, and Laura is underneath a cross of wood. All right, so we're very sad about poor Laura. It didn't go well for her, and she died in apparently a rainstorm. Weep all ye little rains, wail wind wail. So poor Laura. We are singing her praises. Now, a lot of times when you hear this song, it'll be done entirely in major chords, because a lot of guitar cowboys like to do this song, but they make it all bright and positive, and I didn't like that, so I changed some of the chords to minor, and it really works. Okay, so in fact, my friend Bob, who's a really good guitar player, he's like, I don't like your version of Colorado Trail. It's too sad. And then, well, you're all right. Come on, it's supposed to be sad. Let's have Gary's beautiful singing come across again. Grab your C chords, whatever instrument you're on. Okay, and ukulele players, look at that. C, G, A minor, and E minor. Those are your friends. E minor is not quite as much of a friend, but yeah. I meant to play exactly to the beat. Oh yeah, try it. Here's the thing about the beat, right? When we're all playing together, you have to play to my beat, okay? But when you're on your own, you have some flexibility on that, and you can be criticized for being a little bit too much not on the beat. But obviously practice and try and be as steady as you can. But also don't be from the Russian piano conservatory school, which is you will be on the beat or we will send you to Siberia. Don't have that attitude about it. Keep the beat. Make sure the music has some rhythmic element to it. But as soloists, we have that ability to, some things deserve a little bit extra time. Some things we can tighten up a little bit. Pay attention to the sounds you're making to make sure that you're making good quality decisions and not just being out of time. From the top, I'm going to sing, probably play chords if you want, or melody. 1, 2, 3, 4. Eyes like the morning star, cheeks like a rose. Laura was a pretty girl. Every repeat it 2 more times. So apparently she was a lovely young lady, and everybody knows that she was. I've seen it on measure 7. I wrote in there, everybody knows, but I've also seen a lot, and sometimes it comes out of my mouth, God Almighty knows, right? So she's pretty enough to be taken notice by God. That's how pretty she was. Okay, but measure 2, she's laughing and joyful. We don't sing paeans to cranky mean young ladies. We only sing them to beautiful young ladies, right? Who laugh and smile and are joyful. Then you get a song written about you. All right, so that's the basic structure of the song. The chords aren't too difficult. Now let's play the melody together. As I'm looking through melodies, I see 3s and 5s. Okay, that means I got a problem, right? My pinky's going to have to be reaching up to 5 a lot. Now there are no 4s, so that's probably all going to be okay. The other thing I notice is down at measure 13, I got to get to 8. When you see that happening, be wise. Know that, hey, I'm probably going to play my 3, slide my index finger to 5, and then my pinky magically shows up on 8. And that's an important concept in positional playing, is when your notes start to get away on you, you might be able to reach up to 5 with your pinky, but don't try to be reaching up to 8 without presetting the rest of your hand, because you're going to miss it not every time, but you're going to miss it a lot. And I used to be that guy for sure. So try to reset your hand as you're going along here. Let's give it a try. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoops. Start with the right note. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, 3, 3, 5, 3. Oh, 3, 1, 3. Oh, this is on baritone, of course. Oh, 3, 3, 5, 3. Oh, ukulele players, you're getting me the chords. 2, 3, 4. Two, three, 4. So the melody is, again, not terribly complex, but just very pleasant and easy to get along with. And again, as baritone players, you are being thoughtful about positional playing. When we get to the ukulele players, they're going to have to do the same thing. You can reach a little farther on a ukulele, but you don't usually want to. You really want to reposition your hand to play good, solid melody playing. All right, let's play the chord melody. Tough uke. Just one time through. 1, 2, 3, 4. Second ending. Isn't that pretty? And so what I would do with that probably is see how sad I could make it. You're playing ukulele, right? So it's hard to make things sound sad. But try, right? Really take advantage of those minor chords that are in there. Strum maybe a tiny bit slower than you might normally, just to get as much of the pretty sound out as you possibly can. Let's switch over to the ukulele version of this. And on this one, I added a few extra little bit of doodads here. So you actually have a ukulele 3 if you want to play with somebody else. and just like we do in orchestra, you have another voice that will end up sounding pretty cool. You also have a ukulele too, which is a boom chug. It's a boom chuck, boom chuck, boom chuck. And if you want to get really dramatic, if you can get somebody to play melody loud enough. Oh, whoops. Right? So you're just really getting after it, actually hammering down on all four strings. But you got to have somebody who can play melody kind of loud to play louder than that. Let's do the tough uke version. You'll have this. This for the next couple of days. And then, by the way, since I won't be here Thursday or Friday, you're going to be on your own for Down in the Valley. I've been working on the railroad and Red River Valley. Red River Valley is another one of those songs where the minute you play it, you're like, I hate this song. I can't get it out of my head. And so next Tuesday, we will play through as many of these as we can possibly get through, but for sure we'll play through at least one version of Down in the Valley, one in the I've been working on the railroad, and one on Red River Valley. Most of you guys, if you've been to a strum along, a pretty good chance you've done. I've been working on the railroad at a strum along in the key of C. And, obviously we have a fancier version of it here, but it's still the same exact song with chords and all that, so you can play it that way too. All right. How are we doing on time? We're fine. Let's do Colorado Trail 2 times through. This way we do the repeat. Baritone players, do you know your F chord? Hate the F chord. Okay. C chord, not too bad. D minor, not too bad. A minor, right there. Okay, those are your 4 chords. You got F chord in your baritones though, so baritone players, you're gonna get a lot of F chord. Just learn to do it. Okay, if it sounds like this, then that's how you're doing it right now. One day it'll get better. Okay, tough uke, or whatever way you want to play. 2 times through. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, such a good song. All right, there we go. Colorado Trail. All right, so most of you guys are here have played these Cowboys tunes before. most of you guys do not have any of them memorized, right? And most of you, if I said, oh, hey, sit down, play me a cowboy song, you might struggle a little bit, right? So it's a chance for us to revisit this stuff. One of the things I'm terrible about is just continually throwing sheet music at you and never reminding you that your job here is more than to just sight read everything, right? We actually do want to grab a song or two once in a while that sounds really nice on your instrument and own it. And so with the Celtic music that we did last week, in the last couple weeks, there's many of those songs that are totally worth owning. Same thing with these cowboy songs, cowboy culture, whatever, but the music themselves is really quite pleasant. And so give some thought to putting in a little bit of time on this. And you got plenty more for the rest of the week. And then next Tuesday we'll have sort of a Kick Your Fanny Friday Tuesday edition, something like that. All right, let's see. Rita made it in from Chicago, and Amy is here. Now, guys, what I did, because I'm not going to be around this week, and because it's classical music and it's hard, I figured, you know what? Let's go ahead and give them another shot at Beethoven Sonatina. Some of you have done this with me before. Some of you have not. And in any event, if you have done it before, you need to do it again because you didn't do it right last time. And probably. And what's it called? Sonatina? I don't know if it's in my book. And if you did it perfectly before, this is your chance to remind yourself why we play ukulele. This thing is so good, and it's so hard. It's not so hard. It's actually pretty straightforward. There's nothing. The beauty of Beethoven is that he creates really complex music using really simple tools, and he was never one for the weird subtleties that you see a lot of times. And he was definitely a rock star of the age. And so we're lucky that we get to be able to grab our rock instrument and turn it into a thing. So let me get out of this. I always spend all this time poking at this thing. Ukulele, book 3. Add Beethoven. Is it not Beethoven? It is Beethoven Sonatina. Baritone. There they are. All right. Now, what I want to talk about mostly with this is that this is an endurance test, right? Beethoven Sonatina on ukulele. Okay. It is so many notes. I have had one kid. He's about 11. Memorize this thing. Okay. And I want to pay attention. 4 pages memorized, right? And his mom teaches music, and she's like, yeah, he needs to toughen up. We got to get him to memorize. And I'm like, all right, it seems like kind of a crazy goal. And honestly, a couple weeks in, and he had this thing memorized. If you were going to just totally dominate this thing, you wouldn't start by trying to play it page 1 through page 4, right? You would look at this and go, oh, I'm going to do measures 1 through 8. I got a little section there. I'm going to dominate that section. Let's go take a look at measures 1 through 8. If you have baritone and ukulele, why don't you grab your ukulele? We will probably only be able to work on this on ukulele today. Baritone players, you know how it goes. The chords themselves, your version is going to be identical to this version. And I don't really think you need to be practicing your F chord and your C7 chord. I think you probably have those down. But I do want you to practice the chord melody version of this, because one of these days somebody's going to take this exact piece of paper and do it so beautiful, and they're going to stick it up on YouTube, and they're going to go, they're going to go viral, and it's going to be great. Okay, so what's the first thing it says? P. What does that mean? Play quiet, pianissimo. Okay, so on ukulele that means just don't play it. Everything we play is pianissimo. So just try to play it a little bit softer. Okay, you're gonna play. It's classical music, claw, right? Now you can play this with your thumb also, and a lot of the repeats I want you to do that. Okay. Nice German. yes, Andre. We've got a little German in your honor, Andre. From Germany. There was, I don't know if those of you from America know this or not, but there was this guy named Ludwig von Beethoven, and he's pretty good. He's a pretty good writer, pretty good musician, and he wrote this song. I know he's from another country, but we'll celebrate our World Heritage Day of celebrating German composers. F chord. Okay. Now, I have this debate in my head all the time. Do I play, when it's a 3 on the second string, should I use my ring finger or should I use my pinky? I think either of those is perfectly legitimate choice. I know when it's on the first string, I almost always use my pinky. But the second string is a little bit different because you don't have quite as much of a reach. Practice it both ways. Figure out which way is more comfortable, whether you want to play the 2-0-3 with your ring finger or with your pinky. And the only reason to use your pinky is that it might be a little bit easier, especially if you have smaller hands, just to get everything there. And then just keep your ring finger up and ready to play whatever comes next. Okay? So measure 1, F chord, fancy F chord, 1-3-0, back to an F chord. Okay? So you can memorize that. That's not hard. Okay? Now you got this 8-3 business. And what I would do for sure, grab your pinky. Just got to, the minute that you are done with that F chord, pinky on 8, slide it down to 3, and then add the F chord. Now Beethoven wasn't a big slide guy, but he also didn't own a ukulele, and if he had owned one, he'd have probably started sliding, right? So let's try just measures 1 and 2. Pinky. Go pinkies. Yeah, see, there's the pinky people and the ring people, you know, we could do a rumble. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, measure 3. Let's talk about measure 3, that C7 chord. Here are your choices. 0-0-0-1. Okay, all 4 fingers. That makes a lot of sense. You could also do, okay, a little more drama. You could totally do that. You can roll your chord. Right, thumb, index, middle, ring. Just real fast. You want to. The problem with that is sometimes you're slow, right? It's harder to do, and so sometimes then you end up coming in late on your next idea. But give some thought to being creative. This particular section of the song you don't repeat, so whatever you do the first time is the best thing, and you have thought through all of this. All right, let's play measures 1 through 3, and then we'll go on a little further from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. For sure, I'd use my pinky here at measure 5. Put your F chord on, and then 3-0-3. All right, measure 6. How many? By show of hands, how many people still hate the B flat chord? Okay, you guys know at this level, it's just part of what we do. That's just a legitimate chord that you're going to play a few times in your career. Okay, try either full bar, okay, or half bar. Okay. Now the truth is, on this one, I could have arranged this up here on 5 and just use 3 strings. But I think you missed something there. So I do want the full B flat here. And then 5-1-5, pinky, index, pinky, and then go to the high B flat. And you're going to use your pinky on that 8, 5, and you're going to tuck your pinky underneath there, because by the time you get to the 7, which it's hard to tuck it under there, the rest of the chord is going to have stopped ringing anyway. Hit the 7 with the pinky, and then slide it forward to the 8 to get the 5-5-5-8. Change the string. Okay, you're already holding down the 5. Middle finger on 6. F chord. 3-1. Other 3. Decorative note. Okay. Now, I want to play that for you. Just sit and listen and ask yourself, if I played this for people, would they think that I'm pretty legit? So I blew the blew the end of measure 6. You only need to play that much. And they're like, hey, can you show me how to play ukulele? That's what they're going to do. Seriously, this is legit, like, right? So if I'm studying this, I'm not going to practice very much of this, but I am for sure going to practice measure 6 and 7. Okay, so let's go to measure 6 and let's practice that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoops, sorry. Clearly I need to practice this. I lost my spot. Let's go from measure 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pay particular attention to, and we've been talking about this a lot as we've started our classical series, is you got to be paying attention to what's going on up in the notation line, because otherwise you're going to play it right, and you're going to treat those measure 8 as eighth notes. It'll just because everything else around it has been eighth notes. So you want to make sure when you get to measure 8 that those are quarter notes. They're half the speed of all the other notes. Okay. From the top, first 8 measures. 1, 2, 3. No, that's too fast. 1, 2, 3, 4. Quieting it down even more. So I'm trying to play those first 7 measures quiet. Measure 8 is really this beautiful, like you're landing on a soft pillow. Make it happen beautiful like that. All right, now notice measure 9 through measure 24. There's a repeat, okay? So that means you get to play it 2 different ways. And you decide what you want to do there. But I, for sure, if I'm going to repeat a section, I want the second time around to be something different. If you're on piano, your piano teacher says, here's how you're going to do it the second time, right? You're going to do it exactly the same as the first time, only you're going to make less mistakes. But in ukulele, we have a lot of other choices. So probably I'm going to pluck it one time and strum it a second time. I might play one loud, and it says mezzo forte, and then I might play the second time even louder, or I might quiet it down, but I'm going to bring something different to it the second time around. And for sure on our instrument, since everything sounds like plink, 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 you want to try to bring as much tools as you can into cleaning it up in a different way. So let's go ahead and play through this second section, and I'll give you a couple of thoughts on things that you're going to be dealing with as we go along here. Okay, so from measure 9, and I'm going to use my thumb just because I think it'll sound prettiest. 1, 2, ready, play. Back to the beginning, feeling, right? work there, but none of that, not one thing on there is a thing that you haven't seen before. Okay, so you have seen all of this stuff before, not just in this piece, right? But in almost every piece we play, most of this stuff comes up. Well, let's say if I took 5 pieces at random off of the website, I bet every single one of these things would have happened on those. The only thing that doesn't happen are the runs at measure 10. So you put at measure 10, you drop the C chord in, hit the 1, and now you go to up to the 10, 8, 7, 5, 3, 1. Right, and then whatever chord you land on, and then look what happens then again at measure 12. You're going to grab that B flat, hit the 8, and now it's 12, 10, 8, 7, 5, 3, 1. Okay, and then the next run is 10. Well, the next run is 10, 8, 7, 5, 3, 1 again. Okay, and then the next run starts at 8. Okay, so they're all the same run, they just start in a different spot and they use exactly the same notes. That's because those are the notes in the key. And so you got to just know which run you're on, and then you don't need to look at the paperwork. You can just go down and make sure your fingers land on the right notes. I'd recommend if you're starting on 12, put your pinky on 12. If you're starting on 10, put your pinky on 10. And if you're starting on 8, put your pinky on 8, right? And then just get comfy with that. I did it with more than 3. That's the only reason I didn't do that, is because I have the darn thing memorized. And so there's that, right? So that's the next section that you want to put some time into. The nice part about that section is it ends exactly the same as the song begins, and so you already know how to play that part. And so by studying the part 1, you have a little bit of the difference in part 2, but you then tack on the beginning again, and there you are. So it's, again, by putting in the time in shorter sections, all of a sudden you get a whole bunch of music done. Last section here, I should mention, at measure 17 it says dolce, that means sweet. So play that section sweet, as opposed to the hardcore rock and roll sound you've been playing prior to that. In Beethoven, he's playing it on a piano, right? So he's pounding away. He gets to that first section, he goes, okay, make it a little softer and prettier. It's going to sound soft and pretty on your ukulele no matter what. Last section on page 2. This is a completely different song, basically. Okay, so think about it in a couple of different ways. One, you're not going to repeat this section. So first go through, try playing it with your thumb. Then go back through, play it with your claw and see what you think. Okay, so at 25, if you want to just play melody, that's fine. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pluck that through. I'd also go back through and try it with my thumb and see which one I like better, and depending on my mood on any given day, I might play it one way or another. Pay attention. I almost never put it in rests unless Beethoven tells me to. At measure 32, you have bump, bum, 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 ba-da-dum, bum. And so make sure at 32, goes right back to La Cucaracha. Hit that F chord, then bring your hand right back down and stop the sound. Okay? All right. 3 sections. Section 2 is a little bit different with a repeat of the first section. Section 3 here is completely different than the rest of it. Okay? Isn't that pretty? Okay. Yeah. You guys got to get better. Honest to God. Just play some Beethoven, please. All right. Now, thanks, Nancy. That's very sweet. Before we leave, we're going to run out of time here. I want to talk about section 2, okay, or pages 3 and 4 is what I really mean to say. Pages 3 and 4, back in the day in classical music, they would take 2 songs, stick them together, call them one song. I still don't understand the whole thought process behind that, but it's what it was done, okay? And so here we have this sonatina where the first, like, we should be done now. That was perfectly lovely. There's no reason to do anything else. But in this section, he calls it the romance, the romantic section, okay? And so you're going to go through and take a look at this one. Now, as you glance through, the one thing that should jump out at you is, look how lovely your chords are. If you just read that tough uke line, there is nothing that you didn't learn in book 1, right? So you should, theoretically, if you take it slow enough, be able to play it. So I'd like to just play out to the end. We'll ignore the repeats, and that way you'll have a chance to have heard it. But every one of these chord shapes is right straight out of book 1. Yay, Beethoven. Okay? I know they talk bad about you, but you're okay. All right, from the top, 3 beat counting. Take your time. Quarter note equals 88. No hurry. That's I've learned in school that's bad to put quarter note equals 88 when you're in 6/8 time. So someday I will fix that. Okay, those of you with real music degrees. I know. Okay, sorry. It's just these days you set the metronome. Whatever the metronome is, you just set the metronome. Okay, from the top. 1, 2, 3. G minor, G7, C. B flat, 5/8-5. Second ending. Fermat over that, and then go. Keep going. Pianissimo. Isn't that incredible? It's so lovely. You got a couple of little stinky chords in 71 and 73. Other than that, everything is straight out of book one. And Amy says she likes 25 through 34. I think 25 through 34 is miracle songwriting. You're just like, I'm just going to learn. I'm just going to memorize that one section. I don't need the rest of this stupid song. So there you go, guys. I hope that that's going to be fun. I won't be back until Tuesday, so you have all week to work on this. On Tuesday, we will play it both on baritone and on ukulele. So if you are on ukulele, go grab the baritone version and learn. Make sure you know the chords over there, because you're going to be playing along with us when we play it on baritone. You're going to be knocking out those chords, and vice versa, obviously. And so hopefully you're really pleased with that song. I think that is one of the finer pieces of music we've ever done on ukulele, in the sense that it's very playable. It's legit. Like, this is not quite a transcription, but pretty close. And it's just a wonderful song with lots of things going on in there, but not terribly brutal to play. Everything's hard to play on one level or another, but this one just has a sense like you can do this. You can for sure do this, and just take your time. Let play slow. Keep the pacing steady, and you'll end up with a really nice piece of music. So, all right, the time signature change at measure 34. You're playing along in 4/4, right? Dun dun. 1 2 3 1 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. The time signature change at measure 35. Stop completely, shake your head, and then count 1 2 3 4 5 6. 1 2 3 4 5 6. Most of the time we play songs faster than this, and I would encourage you to count it as 1 2. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, right? But because we play this at a relatively slow pace, it's probably easier just to count it in 6. 1 2 3 4 5 6. 1 2 3 4 5 6. 1 2 3 4 5 6. So and so on. I don't think I did that quite right, but you got the idea, right? Time signature change happens at 35. Thanks, Vic. Thanks, Amy. Thanks, Jan. Loving ukulele. That's why we're here. All right, guys. Have a wonderful week. I'll see you next Tuesday. Actually, I'll see you guys. I'll see Monday night at Orchestra, and studios closed this weekend, so I won't be at the studio this weekend. But after that, those of you guys in town who want to swing by and get strings changed or buy a new ukulele or whatever, we'll have that set up for you starting the weekend after this. So, peace. Take care of yourself. I'll see you guys soon.